Okay, students, today we're going to look at the Phillips curve, or what is called the relation between unemployment and inflation. Okay, so there is a relationship between inflation and employment, and this issue uh, issue hi inflation le employment emo unemployment emo hi a relationship a mani ti lo sei tu masa chu monetarist Irving Fisher kha in sianga 1920s a dei khan alo soi to ni ma se A.W. Phillips kanti British economist ama hi New Zealand apiang ania professor London School of Economics a professor ania ani hianin khate asoi mai do tok lo khanin empiricalin or research in approving tani theoretical sound study mangkha 1958 ta khan he relationship hi unemployment le money wage rate ma money wage kan te khan hei hlo ani meng chu daily wage ang te apai sa zong an lak ang kha kha unemployment nen hian British economy a period akha azerta a sangkhat zaria somruk pani atanga sangkhat zokwa somnga pasari 1862 to 1957 nakha kha period chung zong kha azerta ni chuanin heta tanga azirna tanga ahmu chwa chu there is an inverse relationship inverse to inlet mo akar dang akha inverse relationship between the rate of changes in the money wage rate and the rate of employment atita so ama according to his findings Philip curve ina asoi chu Philippine asoi chu when money wage rate increases ma hlo alo tam khan paisa zong hlo alo san khan unemployment po atniam ve ni ti kha aron mu chuak ta ani chuanin a rise in money wage rate may be the cause or effect of inflation alo te ta ni chu amu chu hansai non le ta ila according to his findings when money wage rate increases more money wage rate alo san khan unemployment rate po atniamani atita ani chuan wage rate alo san khan this could have caused or this could be the cause or effect of inflation atita ni chu inflation le unemployment or employment po khalo ni ta se interrelated ani ti khan ran sei ta ni so if we look at this slide this is him Philip atumo A.W. Phillips atuni ta chuanin unemployment le inflation hi aron identify ta chuanin trade off and tinga thana chuan there is a trade off between unemployment and inflation ti khan aron muchuak ta ni kha study ane 1861 atanga 1861 amo 62 amo atanga 1957 thleng khanin he evidence in aron sei chuak ta ni ma unemployment le inflation ni hian trade off an ne ya inverse relationship ani ti kharon sei ta ni chuanin hi a original graph chu ni ta a en thiama har do hleka ma se dole inron en chiang le maidan ne ama nge ina he graph asiam hi ni okay chuanin today this is what a Philip curve looks like okay in the vertical axis we'll find inflation percentage and in the horizontal axis we have unemployment they can ending a relationship an nei ta ang ti kha kan endon ni okay it shows that the slope heta a eng hi slope curve eng khi in enjo hi Phillips curve chu ni ta a chuanin whenever in a two-dimension graph whenever a curve is moving from left to right we say that it is an inverse relationship tara omzia so demand po kha han ngai to ta ola price le demand other things remaining the same it has this type of relationship tara he demand curve ang do khan ne kha kha ta tanga in chu thiam chuan inverse relationship an nei tina ni ta ni tara ani chuan pakhata san chuan pakhata hiamang pakhata hiam chu pakhata sang ang tina ni ta ni. Okay, before we move on with Phillips curve, I want to explain it to you what unemployment is. And I think if heard of, we've done inflation topics, so I'm not going to go into further detail about inflation. Unemployment hitle mazong han explain ta ila. A general term, hey, minol puina kan siya thiam dan chu unemployment chu lack of job kan ti ta taro thotur nei lau mo thotur thok thei thau si zong thau si ma se a hna om lo kha unemployment chu kan ti ani taro atang pen ma se he definition hi up boy thak ve na chu ani chuanin population zong kha unemployment a kha kan tel fek don ti nami ti kha lo lang don ta ni kha unemployment definition general term a kan sai lack of job kan ti renga ta khan a chan chu heta hianin minol puya kha mi zong a kha enternan no pang nge kal thiam to kum nga tanga kum som panga som paruk kha kan tel don na mi ani chuan kumsom ruk atanga chunglam ho po kha kan tel vek don ti na mi unemployment a khan ti kha lo lang ta ni khatiang definition kan rin don chuan anni po kha na kha khan zong ve thei thawa tro khatiang a khan labor force a khan kan tel vek don ti na ami a general term do unemployment kan explain dan kan rin don chuan ma se khatiang khan ni vek kher lawa khang ho kha chu kan tel thelo ta ni chan chu tlang puin hei no panga tanga kumsom parok som pasare ta tu sikul kalayan nya kumsom ruk chung lam chu upalaman ni to tan retire to emo ani nga na thok thei tak tak kha anom to lo ta ani chuanin unemployment kan ti khan khang ho tel lo khanin labor group pakha kan siam ngai ta labor force kha kan siam ngai ta ni ani chuanin atlang puin unemployment ati hianin ram ina apoma chu khami kumsom paruka mo som panga emo atanga sumruk emo sumruk panga inkara na thok thei ma na thok thei thok lo kha khang kha labor force nilovin khang ho zong age group ho kha labor force pom tlang puita a khang ho kum som panga tong somruk panga inkara na tho tur zong si ma se thok tur om si lo kha unemployment a kan tel thei ta mai ta ni chuanin kha unemployment anga pom thei ani don ta a chuanin unemployment rate kan ti chuan tla puin a cho chwa dan chu kha labor force singa khanin number of unemployed a percentage kan zon don chuanin unemployment rate is equal to number of unemployed by labor force into 100 khani me don ta India rama po ina National Sample Survey Organization hey NSS out it pen sianga hey organization hian employment le unemployment kan rama om hi chithumin aron tar chuak ve a chu usual status pakhatna chu usual status of unemployment na te current weekly status of unemployment te current daily status of unemployment te ni ta sang ni pali le panga in ka thleng kha chuan India rama 8.28% akha na tho tur zanga mulo mo unemployed khan ni ta ni tuna chan ala tam viawang atlang pin 8% ai chung lam kha labor force zong kum som panga le somruk panga inkara zong atang khanin 8% chu na tho tur ran hlo mo zon na tur ran hlo ti na ni ta ni chuanin economics te wa kan endon chuanin unemployment po hi chi sang in attention theya frictional structural natural le cyclical unemployment kan ti ta khani ta chu in lo in chiar zau da wanga mo in lo in chiar zau da wanga ti chuanin nge unemployment to in chithiam war mai karing chuanin Philip te kan sei ta ka khanin he Philip Scarf kha unemployment le inflation in chathiam ta chuanin an enta ile nge a relationship kha Philip Scarf khanin a study khanin a hu chua so there is inverse relationship between the rate of change in money wage rate and the rate of employment atitani tara kan sei to ang khanin kha relationship kha atakin data a koleka khata tanga hu chwa ani ta ni chuanin heta tanga kan hu to ra chu money wage rate alo san re ren khanin Philip Scarfan chuanin unemployment kha ati hiam zelani ti khani ta chuanin money wage rate alo san alo hiam chuan unemployment po kha ati sang zelani chu inverse relationship om tinani chu mo ani chuan Philip Scarf akachan so he said that there is a trade-off between rate of unemployment and the rate of change in money wage rate and the rate of employment can be achieved by allowing wage rate to increase amni in a suggest better to wage rate akha kan ti san ren chuan kan ti san thei chuanin unemployment po kha kan ti hniam tu thei ani ti kha alo suggest chu ni ta ni chuanin he implication hi Philips in alo so hi government policy a chuanin Keynesian economy khain en chuanin atlaw puin state government a khanin hat ni tro unemployment te vati nyama vati sang to chuanin so what would be the problem of inflation when this happens more Philip Scarf chuanin what he shows is that analyze data UK collect na tanga empirical relationship kan en chuan unemployment hi sanga asang kami period like kan ma 1861 na tanga 1957 6 kan asang the rate of increase in money wage rate hi aniam wangani an wage rate hi aniam wangin unemployment po sang ani ti kha asoita achan asoya chu khang hun lai kami period laya worker ho kha mo na tho to na thok ho khanin they are reluctant to offer the services at less than the prevailing rates tuna enternan chumi omzia chu tuna hian mystery na thok mystery na hi daily rating ka han chu chan sari ten tlang pe te ro mi zora ma chan chere ta zariata anita ngatinge wage rate akha aniam atina chan chu kha aya rate omsa entenan to na chu mystery rate zariat ayat niam khanin tu labor ma in na khan thok do lawani so entenan in saktur kha lo tlen ta se demand for labor kha aniam don tinani tani teron zoram anga example kan pek chuan khatianga khanin unemployment poron sang don tinani tani chuanin ke khanin he demand labor demand asan khanin there will be few unemployed chiang mai ni tro so employer khanin they are expected to bid wage rates up ni khat lo emo hlo sim kha wage rate khan ti sa na ngai ni unemployment ti nyam to chuan atita ni chuanin khami mai ba ka khan factor danga soile chua Phillips Karfakhan, there is inverse relationship between money rate, money wage rate, and unemployment. Atya. So, this is the nature of business activity. In a period of rising business activity, when unemployment falls with increasing demand for labor, the employers will bid up wages. And then business activity hello thata se mo unemployment na kha niam do na ni achan chu business a that lai chuan eng business po in mi an chhor tam ta ni taro so mi chhor tam an du chuan tle min an wage po khan ti sang je lang employer ho po khan in mo chuanin het tianga hianin economy kha lo tla niam ta se business activity atlak niam lai chuanin demand for labor kha lo niam anga unemployment kha lo sang ang tinan ta ni so employers will be reluctant to grant wage increase hetiang hun alo thlen hi chuan employer tan chuan hlo po anti sang du bik lo ni so this reduces wages but workers hey capitalist economy a chuan kut na thok te po ni se eng na thok pa he union a hen an thina heng union a in register ho chuanin an tang ho ta ati khan employer khan king ve thei ta ni eng decision po lo ni ta se hetiang huna hianin ka worker union na ho le union ho sim khan wage cut re nga hi an du lo tla pui ni tero anol puin tun lai chana po ni thawa tianga hian employers now they are forced to dismiss workers an lo an ti hiam thei chuan lo chuan tero employer tan chuan a then nazar han ban mai kha ol ta ni so this will lead to a higher rate of unemployment. Thus, when labor market is depressed, a small reduction in wages would lead to a large increase in unemployment. Reduction wage ti niya malawni kanin unemployment at the sang tani mo Phillips concluded that on the basis of the above argument that relation between rates of unemployment and change of money wages would be highly nonlinear as shown in this curve. Okay, so he amasazok curve kahan entaila. So when wage rate is high, okay, when wage rate is high, the unemployment is low. So there is a trade-off between the rate of change in money wages and the rate of change of unemployment. This means that when the wage rate is high, unemployment is low, and that is vice versa. So the original Phillips curve was observed statistical relation which results in the behavior of which shows the behavior of labor market in this equilibrium through excess demand. And several economists they have extended Kang Chinaka Philip Scarfina unemployment rate of change level of price or inflation rate allow explain da na chunita economist ten khat po khanin emi me ba ka hen extension explanation an lo siam ve a trade-off unemployment rate of unemployment the rate of change in level of price or inflation rate mang te khan adron explain tani ma chuanin hey hianin money wage an analysis a khanin he interpretation a khan economist hang khataka khachuanin US data mang khanin Philip Scarf in UK a allow ti to saka short run phase te long run phase te an andron explain vele thunga chung chu Dunbark te Don Bush and Fisher te Ackley te ang te hau khanin US a khanan va apply vele tani chuanin they all find that Philip Scarf relationship is consistent with the US data in the short run ani chuanin Philip Scarf ina ati lan na khachu short run curve kan ti hi ani tlang pui ni ma so if we look at this relationship we can find that there is inverse relationship between the rate of inflation and the rate of unemployment that is inflation reduces unemployment tikha kan conclude mai turani ma Philip Scarf khan inflation reduces unemployment so in here a question arises why is there inverse relationship between the rate of inflation and the rate of unemployment ingat tinge kha relationship kha a inverse a ti kha zona thayania so mai ba ka chon how does inflation reduce the rate of unemployment and how does it promote employment inflation akhan tinge unemployment kha ti niam thaya and tinge employment ati san thai their relationship inverse inflation rate le unemployment rate he explain na dan sang om ve a chu demand pull factor kan ti te demand wage push factor kan ti te mang khanin I explain the ani chu demand pull kan ti khan demand pull factor kha chu inflation a khan in zerta tero Philip sakha chuan demand pull inflation demand for labor increases as increases in prices it gives firms incentive to increase production labor kan motam chuan this increases the price and gives firms to increase production nitita tro kha hun economic activity thathun lai kan seng khan so when the demand for labor is very high and there are very few unemployed we should expect employers to bid wage rates up rapidly kang labor attack tur khachuanin an wage rate an ti sa na ngai kan ti kha demand pull inflation kan ti ta wage push factor kan ti le thum hi zo wage push inflation hang khan explain te hey hi chu autonomous demand kan ti mai labor union te mo labor le union hoina when they push for increase in wages an lo ti san mo an du khanin this leads to the wage push factor and this leads to the rate of unemployment ni china kan sai to ang khan an lo khati niam khan du lawa ti niam ma tu lai khanin unionism awang khanin ti khan eng lau hau kha chuanin employer kha chuanin te lau thei lawin an eng lau alo ngai ta an lo ban ngai ta ti khan unemployment kha alo ti sang vele thung ta ni so trade off What it means is that a certain rate of inflation can be traded for some rate of employment. Economy ka han ngay tua tale Indian economy ti ang po hi. He Philip Scarf is to Indian economy atan a relevant paklawa. Atan chu kan unemployment situation hi hey capitalist economy te hau nen ang lo. Ang chi unemployment nge kan nei ti kan characteristic azir khanin he Philip Scarf chu nom zia nei em lo ma se capitalist economy a chen tiang hian ani kha trade off kha en ting nge en zat nge inflation ni ta ang what can be traded for some rate of unemployment. In other words, lower rate of unemployment can be achieved only at a higher rate of inflation. And think unemployment kan economy lo na sa em ta se tero unemployment ka kami tinhiam tur chuan inflation na kha kan ti san ve ngai ta ni re ta kha trade off kan ti lai tak chu ni ta ni chuan Philip Scarf kho chuan he provides a large number of such trade-off points. I suggest that this is what we call menu for choice between inflation and unemployment. Menu for choice between inflation and unemployment. And that me talk vel chia chiang help me that inflation ni ta se tinge unemployment na khoyang. So the trade-off between this inflation and unemployment has very important policy implication. Given the inflation and unemployment rate combinations, policymakers get a number of trade-off points between inflation and unemployment to choose from. Okay, so if we look at that Philip curve, recall it. Okay, the curve downward sloping aninga mo ngoro khangi a curve or downward sloping in a kalta chuanin hemi a trade off zel chuni mo a trade off zel chu hemi zat inflation ni chuan a vertical hi inflation ania hnoi lam hi unemployment ani ta a vertical lam hi en taula khi line pani kal phei hi mutro hemi zat inflation ani khan unemployment rate chu a hnoi me kha unemployment rate he zat lo ni nga inflation ati hniam chuan mo a hnoi zo ka line hi en ta ila ani chuan unemployment rate asangang ti khani zel ta ni chuanin ke percentage zir khan kha trade off ka om zel don ti khani ta ni tra in thia mang chumo okay chuanin he curve hi chuanin Philip Scarf short run Philip Scarf atilang ta chuanin Philip Scarf in a period zira kha 1861 to 1956 thleng lo ni ta se kum enzat nge kum som nga chuang somruk mo kami chuang azir ta azir chung kha raiviao ma se it is not termed as a long run. Okay, long run phenomenon na nilaw. Okay, we should remember that it is a short run, and recent evidence shows that Philip Scarf relationships holds only in a short run. Okay, long run at one Philip Scarf keeps shifting up and down. Okay, so this can be shown in the US data in 1960s like Hanin 1960s 70s 80s. This confirms that the existence of Philip Scarf is only in a short run. The Philip Scarf is found to be relevant only for a short period, that is 1960s 70s and the late 80s, to at different rates of inflation and unemployment. So but when the entire unemployment and wage rate is plotted in the US data, it produces Philip Scarf which keeps shifting up and down in the long run in a spiraling way. It is therefore concluded that there exists either no or weak relationship between inflation and unemployment in the long run. Long run chuanin he Phillips curve relationship inflation le unemployment hian relationship an nei lo atitani. So this is the historical example which invalidate Phillips curve in the long run. Okay, long run Phillips curve da na ni tani chuanin chuanin he stagflation he han entire it is a new term. Okay, it was added into economic literature in 1970s. Stagflation he tharlam takani he word he it is a combination of stagnancy plus inflation. Okay, stag is stagnation and inflation. No, here situation is this situation happens when an economy experiences stagnation, or unemployment, along with high rate of inflation. Stagflation inflationary recession stagflation. It is measured in the US by the discomfort index which discomfort index which is a combination of high unemployment rate and the inflation rate measured by the price deflator by the GNP. One of the major causes of this stagflation has been restriction in supply. A restriction in supply. When aggregate supply is reduced, there is a fall in output and employment and price level rises. A reduction in aggregate supply may be due to restriction in labor supply. The restriction in labor supply may be caused by rise in money wages on account of strong unions, or by rise in legal minimum wage rate, or by increase in tax rates, which reduce workforce on the part of workers. Okay, union lo telemo minimum wage hey US chuan darkar khata minimum wage sumizat mo chen rate ni thingka tuna chuan som panga ni to ta dollar som panga chu enga po employee don ta cheu sela tero na zong ta ola I minimum wage ihlo tu ra chu $15 per hour khani top me ni kha sarkar na a rate a siam khani ta khami ai niam khan tu employer mai nun employee thailo che ti khan ta khatiang alo ti san khan hlo alo tam ta ni chuanin union hon lo khanin khanin wage rate ti san te khan lo phot ta khatiang alo khanin supply kha affect ta ni. So when wage rises, firms are forced to reduce production and employment. Production and tiniam angai ta ni chuanin produce tam vak lo chan mi employ vak po khangai lo ta an cut thin ta ni tero an ban thin ta. So there is a fall in real income and consumer expenditure. So this leads to one of a phenomenon we call stagflation. Okay, so as we can see the relevance of Phillips curve today, most economists no longer use the Phillips curve in its original form. Khashodran curve ani wang khan original ang che khachuan an mang to lowa Phillips curve ina alo propound ang khachuan ma se he modified version kan tiang chi hi lo man mang ta a chan pakhat chu Phillips curve kha chu a simple le lutuk ta mo. So there are other data which can be shown through using this Nairu kanti mo long run Phillips curve mang khanin monetary policy the fiscal policy te kha he modified version kha anlo tilang thina ni tero chuanin chuan ato beratan chuanin ani chuan trade off ta ka wang khan eng chungi kan than zo kang unemployment ti niam nge inflation ti san economic and policy kan sia mangai ta ni mo eng hinge kan thlan zo kang inflation ti san nge unemployment ti niam unemployment ti san nge inflation ti niam kha kha a thlan ngai ta ni chuanin he khami trade off lo thang ha satupol chu John F Kennedy khan sianga US president lui kha chuanin alo thang ta trade off a khanin 4% unemployment rate kha a consider ta this is what he considered it as tolerable for the natural rate of unemployment mo 4% unemployment kha chu poilo turanga ngai khanin ron thang ta it meant that 4% unemployment and the economy was to be taken to be full employment 4% unemployment ram khana nei khachuan in full employment anga ngai thei tur khanan pomta ni during the 1970s however the US economists debated again on the question how much unemployment is full employment an lo titani enge full employment 4% John F Kennedy na lo pomto kha an question le so according to Robert J Gordon he was an expert in this subject natural rate of unemployment was about 6% lo tileta 1980s akhan. In fact, by the early 1980s, many economists came to believe that full employment meant an unemployment rate close to 6%. And lo tisang ve do shetani 6% unemployment rate khachu poilo turangan ngai nyang chu full employment angin economy kha full employment in operate ni ti a pom thei in anron pom ta a ma se khang hun lai khanin evidence data sang an en kan natural rate of unemployment akha US akhan asa enge a increase ani asang tula from 4% in 1960s to 5% in 70s and 6% in the 80s. The rise in natural rate of unemployment in US is attributed to three factors, that is change in demographic structure of labor force and lo dang lama achan chu teenager le women me chia ho kha labor force an lut na sa thalai kha labor force an lut ta ni zon labor force apung tinani tani chuanin US panhina chon US chon insurance an nei thina tro unemployment insurance anti ei no tho tur lo om lo khanin in khangai ta tro tenga khan uninsured ta ni an lo pakhat ania so this discouraged temporarily unemployed person to find job and to accept a low-paid job. Ka insurance an nei awang khanin unemployed ho khanin na niam do khami insurance aya claim anyang chu aya niam vatho ai chuan insurance unemployment insurance lak mai kha an tan chuan an thang jok ta thena chu wang chan unemployment rate khalo sang ta ni chuan pathumna cha an increase in structural unemployment due to ups and down in the industrial sector structural unemployment industrial sector he kan en chuan in production na nei tam chuan kha unemployed tam me kha teng unemployment alo om khanin in ban le in higher le mai all sam na kha anita ni khatyang a khanin structural unemployment kha asana wangin he period 1960s to 1980s thleng khan a decade khanin unemployment rate kha asang zer ni so in regard to this natural rate of unemployment in other countries it was found that between 1% and 2% in France US 6% ani like 1 le 2% kha unemployment rate ania Germany le UK apo kha an 1 na tanga 2% kha unemployment rate kha anpom dan thlang poinita in later years the natural rate of employment in these countries rose to 6 to 12% in asang vele zelani kha chan tam tak wang aniang chu engpon ni ta se the fact remains that some unemployment is always there in all countries for various reasons so This rate of unemployment is what we call natural rate of unemployment. Ka 6%, 5%, 12% poloni sakhang ka natural rate of unemployment kan ti chu anita ni. Chuan kan hriat tur chu a logical conclusion na tan chuan there must be an attempt should be kept that unemployment rate should be close to its natural rate. Okay, and this concept is however fuzzy. The natural rate of employment is somehow misleading, but the most suggestion made is to be as close as to this natural rate of employment. So in Phillips tikhan in Phillips curve akhachu atang pui kan sei thei chu ni ta se en bel du le shet bel du in nei chu amin ron be mai don ya. Okay, thank you.